as we welcome in our brother Joe Davidson, who's on the road. The car's not moving, so he's playing it safe. Joe, look at that sunshine, the hound.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, no.
Hey, no airbag. I'm good. That was just a reminder. Do not do radio and drive at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, so take a look at this. I'm let's see. Do you see Morrill Rock back there? So we.
I was just about to say, Joe, where we're at, it is cloudy. That is not where you're at right now.
Yeah, 71 degrees down here. I'm down here visiting my stepmother, Frances, and my last remaining parent. And, I just want to appreciate her, and she's in good health, and, good to get away here. And, I think you guys will appreciate this. I'm doing this from the car, so I don't pick up all this extra noise and all that. Plus, with the windows all rolled up, it probably sounds like a studio.
You sound terrific.
Sounds good. From Damien's spaceship, you can turn that into a studio as well. That's what they say.
I don't know why he does this, Joe. He literally has a newer version. Like I don't know why. Why has Kenny always been like this? Back when you met him in high school, did you know one day he's going to be a giant pain in the ass to Damian Barling? Did you see those traits in him back then?
Clearly, his mother warned me about such behavior. She says, "I'm so glad he's going away to college, but he's probably going to come back at some point, and then he's always going to be." But Kenny's our problem. He's our society problem, and
I love y'all, man. I love my city. I love my people, man. I love y'all, man. I love y'all.
Hey, good segment before we veer off. Good segment on Franco Harris. How stunning was that today?
That was very
and just days away from that 50th anniversary, and what a wow. These football legends that we grow up with, they're not supposed to die. They're supposed to live to 100 at least. And so I think football just got cheated out of more Franco Harris, and he certainly loved to talk about the Immaculate Reception. And I think you guys are right, boy. He sold it. If it did skip off anything, it's also going 100 miles an hour, but it's you think about how technology has changed. Today we'd have 9 different camera angles, then limited.
Yeah.
So we don't know. And reviews.
Yeah.
And I also had this moment like, 72 doesn't feel old to me.
No, man.
It doesn't. No. He shouldn't have passed away.
And he's been active, and he's been a lot of interviews for these documentaries, and the media all through Pittsburgh's probably had a lot of pieces run or in the can ready to run them with Franco Harris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the other crazy thing about that, I think I heard it from 49ers announcer Greg Papa. He was talking about it. And I can't confirm it, but I'm gonna listen to Greg. That was the Steelers' first playoff win. That the Immaculate Reception.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then they lost to the eventual 17-0 Miami Dolphins in the AFC Championship. So there was greatness upcoming and greatness current meeting.
And that's caused us decades of angst because that team went undefeated.
Oh, jeez.
We have to hear about them year after year after year.
Exactly right. Best year of football, and the best year of NFL football was the 1970s.
Another funny thing about those Steelers I was talking to my barber about this morning because Terry Bradshaw was on the NFL Network, and he mentioned that he was never a captain, but Franco was captain. It's like Terry Bradshaw was like the 5th best player on those teams.
Bro, he
might have been Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think he was more Dilfer than
oh
Garoppolo.
God.
Oh, no way. No, you know what? I will argue that Terry Bradshaw's got the greatest arm in NFL history.
What?
Oh, that's a hell of an argument.
I'm talking about a cannon. He was a high school national champion in the javelin. His last high school meet. This is why you guys have me on. Is for segments like this. Is his last high school event was the meet. Let's see what the Golden West Invitational. And it was in Sacramento. It's held in Sacramento every year for some 60 years, and he was throwing the javelin back in those days. And but he put his forefinger at the tip of the ball and threw it. It's weird to even imagine that. Joe Namath, great arm. Brett Favre, great arm. Who are we missing?
You just mentioned the
Dan Marino, maybe the best.
What about Jeff George?
Yeah, but he missed enough where he got flushed out.
Yeah, Jamarcus Russell had a cannon too.
That's what I heard. throw 70 yards from his knee, which I never understood. Like, if he was on his knee, he'd be down. So why do we care how far he throws the ball when he's on his knee? But they loved it. They loved it. Joe, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask Joe. I know you had an update, and we finally got some finalization on the Kiku Parker situation.
Yeah, we did, and he's cleared. And so just to refresh really quick, Kiku Parker was a 3-year varsity starting basketball player at El Camino, the San Juan Unified School District, which has produced some pretty good radio talent over the years as well, from what you understand. And the CIF governing body declared him ineligible for this season, his senior season, because of a transfer to Grant, with the suggestion that it was athletically motivated. Or I'm sorry, he was recruited over. Grant denied it, so they get a lawyer involved, and they had a hearing last week or the week before, and he's been cleared. And and then we had a follow-up story about how the San Juan Unified School District wouldn't let the coach speak, Mamu Rafiq, who was accused of bullying and kicking him off the team and trying to block a transfer. And then they finally let them speak. So I spoke to him and the athletic director, Ron Conklin, for an hour on Zoom the other day. And he says, we didn't try to hold it up. We were contacted by the CIF. We didn't reach out to the CIF. We did not try to block his transfer. And the coach also took offense. Memo Rafiq, who said, "Hey, I'm an Afghan refugee. I was born in Afghanistan. I've endured racism, so I'm not a racist. This kid was in my family. He was an extension of our family. Coached him since he was in the 4th grade." He also disputes that meltdown when the coach and Kiku Parker barked at each other up in December last year when he when that falling out. The coach said that the cursing came from the player, and he said, "You're out. You're done with this game." And the young man peeled his jersey off. So differences of stories, witnesses on both sides. Bottom line is Kiku Parker is playing. El Camino wanted to be heard, saying that we did not block any transfer. The CIF approached us and asked us, what are you hearing about the speculation? Do you have, so they sent a timeline where they thought he was involved with Grant before he said, before the family said he was. But I still believe that the right thing happened. The CIF needs to look into this. Schools need to look into, you can't have undue influence. But when the Grant people say they didn't do it, he grew up in Del Paso Heights, Kiku Parker, and he always wanted to go there. And now he's going to play in his first game, I think is December 23rd. And, so the Parker family's happy. And I'm glad that this, that the El Camino coach spoke on the record. He should be heard, let him say what he had to say. And he thought it was very disappointing that the friendship of the family dissolved like that. He goes, "I'm not a racist. I'm not a bully. I get fired for that kind of stuff." So, really interesting. We'll have a story run later today, or in a day or so. And I think I'm going to do a bigger feature at some point on what's up with transfers and what's legal and what's not, and 30-day sit out, whole season sit outs, because it's doesn't just happen in basketball, but I think the right thing has happened, and the CIF did the right thing in having a hearing. Let's find out. And then that's what they concluded. Kiku Parker can play for the Grant Pacers now.
And the bottom line is the young man can play, and he's able to, go on with the rest of his senior season. And that's the most important thing. I read your article when you talked to the El Camino coach, and I'm not here to disparage him or say I don't believe anything he said. The only thing that I would say is, whose idea was it for him not to say anything? And I know you said the school district, San Juan School District, but I would have if I was him, I would have had a conversation with them and be like, "Yo, you're doing a disservice to me by not allowing me to come out and say, we're not doing any of this. The CIF is doing this. We can't control that. If it was up to me, he would play just fine at Grant or whatever. But the fact that they let him linger out there for months about this whole thing, you did a disservice to me. And I'd have a problem with that you tried to put the kibosh on me telling my side, or at the very least, if I had nothing to do with this, being able to say, I don't have anything to do with this."
Right. And it's become common where school districts put gag orders on. You've got to trust your coaches and your athletic administrators to speak. And I don't know if it's I know there's a legal process and all that, but the stories that we had, the 2 stories on Kiku Parker, only had one side. And I mentioned in there, it wasn't lack of reporting or laziness or ignorance or anything like that. And we put in the story that the coach and the athletic director weren't, could not speak on the record. And then the district finally had a statement, all that. Okay, well, that stuff needs to be there sooner. Just like up at Yuba City, when River City High School football had its season flushed a couple of months ago for having that mock slave auction. Nobody's allowed to talk. When a Delaware football player, and it's 115 degrees back in August, and he collapses, and the district puts out a mandate: don't talk to the media, and they say everywhere. But we've found over the years that when you have an open dialogue, you have a more balanced coverage of what happened. One time where there was enough trust, if that's the right word, was shortly after the Yuba City, River Valley football team with a slave mock auction, and they had to end the season. Del Campo High School football was playing at Vista Del Lago in Folsom, and somebody got into the Del Campo locker room at halftime or in the second half and got onto the whiteboard and left racial remarks and things like that. And the Folsom Unified School District athletic director spoke to me right away, and so did the principals of both schools and the football coaches, because they said let's talk about it. And so we had both sides, and I think they concluded that it was middle school students that snuck in there trying to pull a prank. Not funny, but that's the point. It's hard to do our jobs when we can't. Well, it's hard to do our jobs thoroughly on topics like Kiku Parker when we can't get everybody to be allowed to speak, and some of it happens later. That's why we're going to do a follow-up.
I hope everybody can appreciate what an incredible sentence their season was canceled because they had a mock slave auction was.
Jeez.
That is a phenomenal sentence.
Well, yeah. I thought you were saying, the reason I laughed there for a second, I thought you were talking about my run-on sentence just now. It was
no.
13-second answer with semicolons and dashes. And
Joe, we talk for 4 hours a day. We're one long run-on sentence. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Hey, Joe, real quick before I get you out of here, basketball season's upon us. That's my time now. Now I want to see what's going on. And I want to see, I'm going to tell you what I want to see right now. I don't know how it's going to get there, but, I'm thinking about April, March at the Golden One Center. I want to see a section final against Modesto Christian and Jesuit, where I get a battle between my man Jamari Phillips, I think that's his last name, and Modesto Christian against Andre Stojakovic.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? So
that's what I want to see.
So that timeline that Kenny Caraway just gave, Damien, gives us an example of what we were talking about earlier. Has he changed? No. There will be no basketball in April, and because the season will be over. But no, so the section championships, check this out, Kenny, are now at the end of February. It used to be the first weekend of March, but no, you're right. So our number one team is the Jesuit Marauders. Andre Stojakovic is a 6'7" guard who's committed to Stanford. He's the son of Peja, and this kid is he's one of the most skilled, great players we've ever had around this area. And I saw him the other night against our number 2 ranked team, no longer number 2, Rio Mercano, and he went for 40 in easy flow of the game. Didn't dominate the ball, so he's terrific. But in Modesto Christian, they have like 78 kids in the school, and I think 50 of them play in the basketball program, and they've become a national force. And so they get, they were in the open division last season and lost, but all their guys are back, so they're going to be loaded. And hey, speaking of high school, real quick, I want to just let people know on SACB.com, we've got a list now of all the high school football kids who signed today. We have guys going to Stanford and Sac State and UC Davis and Oregon and Oregon State. So check that out, and because we could all appreciate anybody getting a scholarship. It's hard to get a Division I FBS or FCS scholarship, and 2% of kids in America get full athletic scholarships. So that's why these kids are celebrating it so much on social media.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe,
for some of these kids.
Merry Christmas, man. Go enjoy that sunshine behind you. That's good stuff right there.
I'm going to go scale that mountain, that rock. And if you don't hear from me in about a few hours, notify the Coast Guard.
Yeah,
careful, just Joe. Shoot us a text. Just
be careful, Joe. Just settle down. Enjoy the view, okay?
I'll send a text. Send help.
Yeah, please do. And just leave your phone there on your chest, and we'll hey, ping this location and go get our brother Joe Davidson. He didn't make it up there.
That's great. Hey, happy holidays to you guys. You guys are the best. I appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.
Likewise.
Thanks.